Clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Cavell. Here. Commissioner Charles. Commissioner Gershenson. Here. Commissioner Gingell. Here. Commissioner Hoffman. Present. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Joliet.
Here. Commissioner
Kokendorfer.
Here.
Commissioner Kowal. Commissioner Kuhn.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Lubes.
Here.
Commissioner Markham. Here. Commissioner McGillivray.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Moss.
Here.
Commissioner Nelson. Here. Commissioner Powell. Here. Commissioner Spiz.
Present.
Commissioner Weipert. Here. Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next up, the invocation will be given by the Honorable Commissioner Kristen Nelson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excellent. Thank you,
Commissioner.
Chairman. Ready. Good evening, everyone. As we gather here this evening, may we be mindful of opportunities to render our service to residents and our communities, and look to the past with gratitude and to our future with hope. We seek to represent fairly and well, and may our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and compassion. And may we seek to serve with respect for all, and may our personal faiths give us the strength to act honestly in all matters before us. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next up is approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes dated October 20th, 2022, moved by Commissioner McGillivray, seconded by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes are approved unanimously. And then we'll move to approval of the agenda, and I'll call on Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to request suspension of the rules for item 14A, which is the Equalization Resolution 2022, Oakland County Public Transportation Property Tax Levy, millage rate based on the November 8th, 2022 election, on the regular agenda.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda is approved unanimously. We'll move to communications. We've got a couple of proclamations and a presentation and a few other communications. And so the first proclamation, I will call on Commissioner Angela Powell to recognize Cantrell Rouser.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Let's wake up.
Good evening.
Here. Hey, thank you. So today I have the honor of, I'm gonna move this. I have the honor of honoring and presenting this proclamation to Cantrell Rouser, and it reads, whereas the potential of bright, dedicated, and driven young people and their important role in shaping not just their own futures, but the future of our county and our country cannot be understated. And whereas Cantrell Rouser, a 19-year-old native from the wonderful city of Pontiac, is one such inspiring individual. Cantrell began boxing at the age of 4. He is currently ranked as the #1 amateur boxer in both Michigan and the United States. Yes. Boxing runs in Cantrell's family. His grandfather, Keith Rouser, his father, and head coach, Kenyell Rouser Sr., both box. His older brother, Kenyell Rouser Jr., is a professional boxer as well. And whereas in August 2022, Cantrell competed in the 2022 Golden Gloves of American National Championship in Oklahoma, where he beat some of the best amateur boxers from across the country to become champion in the 139-pound weight class. Out of the 300 other boxers, judges chose Cantrell to receive the 2022 Golden Boy Award for his outstanding performance. The win makes him eligible to participate in the Junior Olympics qualifiers this December in Texas. And whereas Cantrell trains at Tony Harrison's Super Bad Fitness facility in Detroit, he also works part-time. Cantrell is currently seeking sponsorships to help him gain exposure and finance his dreams of attending the Olympics and becoming a professional boxer. And whereas we join with Cantrell's family, friends, and coaches, as well as the entire Pontiac community, to congratulate him on his remarkable achievements within the sport of boxing and to honor his commitment, talent, and hard work. Now, therefore, David T. Wilbur, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, along with myself, Commissioner Angela Powell, and the entire Oakland County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim special connotation to Cantrell Rouser. We wish him success in all of his future endeavors. So, to my colleagues, as I stated in his proclamation, if you can, I will have Sarah share his donation information. And if any of you all can support this young man's dream, I'm just asking as a colleague to support it. Thank you ahead of time if you do support him. And let's bring up Mr. Rouser so he can have some words. You know I heard you talk. I know you can talk now. You want to say a few words?
Yeah.
Okay.
First,
Yeah, you know I'm sure.
first I would like to thank God, thank my family. Kind of lost the words right now. I just wish that y'all would send me prayers on my journey, and I continue to keep God first and continue to work hard and keep a positive mindset. And thank y'all again for acknowledging me too. I appreciate that a lot. That's it.
Thank you. I'm going to hand the gavel over to Commissioner Gershenson, and I'm going to make the next presentation. And welcome all commissioners who want to come up here. The next person that we're going to recognize and honor for all of his years of service is someone who's no stranger to any commissioner here. Dr. Stephen Taub has served our county well as a member of the Oakland County Health Network, and I would like to call up our former colleague, also no stranger to Dr. Taub, Commissioner Shelley Taub, who's in the House, to be on hand to receive this proclamation on Dr. Taub's behalf. If you've ever had the opportunity to talk with Dr. Taub about his passion to improve the health status and care for those suffering from mental challenges and other disabilities, you know that is an extension of who he is. He has served on the OCHN board, has helped govern it through some of the difficult times. He leads with his heart, and we as a county are so incredibly grateful for his years of service. And so it is bittersweet that we are recognizing Dr. Taub, who can't be with us this evening, but I understand he might be listening and watching live, I hope. And because due to some health issues is not able to continue in his service, but it's important that this county sends the full appreciation for Dr. Taub's service. So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to hand it off to any colleague who wants to start in. We're going to present this proclamation to Dr. Stephen Taub, whereas it is an honor to recognize Oakland County residents who have demonstrated exceptional leadership and expertise in their field and who have leveraged that talent for objectives beyond professional success, aiming to improve our communities and to have a positive impact on the lives of others. We'll jump in here? Sure. All right.
Whereas Dr. Stephen Taub, who has served on the Oakland Community Health Network, OCHN Board of Directors for nearly 20 years, is one such remarkable individual. Dr. Taub retired in 1999 after 35 years as a family physician. In 2003, he was appointed to the OCHN Board of Directors. OCHN leads a provider service network that assists approximately 23,000 Oakland County residents with intellectual or developmental disabilities, mental health challenges, or substance abuse disorders at more than 300 service sites across the county.
Everyone, all jump. Yep.
Where are we picking up?
Pick up.
All right.
Over 20 years, everyone's eyes have slowed down.
Hey, speak for yourself. Can you just hold it over here? Whereas prior to his medical career, Dr. Taub served in the U.S. Navy. He was stationed at Long Beach Naval Station Alcohol and Substance Abuse Clinic, now known as the Betty Ford Center. Dr. Taub returned to Michigan in 1969 and joined a volunteer treatment initiative dedicated to reintegrating institutionalized teens and young adults. Part of the initiative involved establishing several group homes, which eventually became part of Macomb Oakland Regional Center services. Dr. Taub served as the family physician for the individuals who lived in 16 of these homes for many years. And whereas, in addition to his influence in Oakland County, Dr. Taub's advocacy efforts and professional experience have also helped shape state policies and legislation throughout his leadership roles with the Michigan Association of Community Mental Health Boards. Dr. Taub has been on the MHB board since 2004. He served as the organization's secretary from 2009 to 2011, first vice president from 2011 through 2013, and president from 2013 through 2015. Dr. Taub has also been a member of the MHB Legislation Committee since 2023.
And whereas we join with Dr. Taub's family, friends, and colleagues to recognize him for exemplary service to and leadership to Oakland County Community Health Network. We thank him for his countless contributions to public health and his efforts to improve the health and well-being of Oakland County's most vulnerable residents.
20 years ago when I met Dr. Taub, I did not have transitional lenses. I do today. Now, therefore, David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, along with the entire Oakland County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim commendation to Dr. Stephen Taub for his service attested on the 17th day of November, 2022. Okay. And we present this to you and give you the mic. Welcome back, Commissioner.
Well, David, you never should have given the mic to a retired politician. I would like, first of all, to thank all the Board of Commissioners, but I also want to have the people on the Mental Health Board come up here too, because you share this with Steve. He would be here if he could, but he can't be. Come on, Dennis, round your group up. Mr. Chairman,
You took my thunder away.
Yeah.
I was going to round them up after you spread that out.
Okay, here they come. Well, I didn't know the plan. Steve would be here if he could. He can't be here. But his devotion to mental health has been a lifetime of love and concern. I also want to say that when he, as a family physician in Shelby Township, Michigan, was asked to take care of the people in group homes. These were people who were newly let out of mental health facilities. They had been locked up their entire lives. Nobody, not one single family doctor or internist in Macomb County and bordering Oakland County, because he's on staff at the then Crittenden Hospital, would take care of this group of people except my husband. So I'm grateful for everything. Thank you.
And I would like to break, some protocol. If there's anybody else, particularly from our OCHN board, that would like to, the president of our board, to say a couple of words, also honoring, Dr. Taub's service.
Oh,
Thank you.
That was the plan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Thank you. So I am Jonathan Landsman, Oakland's board chair. I'm surrounded by board members and staff. It's so nice to see everyone here. We're going to take some time and recognize him at our next board meeting for his contributions to Ocean. But I want to thank you, the board commissioners, for recognizing him tonight. Steve, along with others now gone from our board, took me under their collective wings to teach me the ins and outs of the special needs of our Medicaid programs and our folks and those evolving needs of those persons we serve. Steve's mentorship has helped me to understand that our board is appointed by the county commissioners. It's nonpartisan to serve the needs of the special needs of this population, citizens across the county. And from board actions, you won't know who's a D or an R because it doesn't matter. The focus, he's always told me, is our focus is always on the people we serve, their needs, and that it spans this county demographically and geographically. And as well, we should always share what we know with other CMHSPs, PIHPs, and I apologize for the alphabet soup, for those that serve their counties and the folks across the state. So that's why he was probably made president for the association. It was a no-brainer. So during these last 6 months, I've continued to miss the 11 years of Steve's perspectives, his advice, his ability to read the tea leaves of the state legislature, the department, and even metro region levels. But what I'm going to miss most is his dry sense of humor and his friendship for both he and Shelley. And that wouldn't have occurred unless the Board of Commissioners hadn't appointed him to this board 20 years ago, and then me 11 years ago. Otherwise, I would have never met Shelley and Steve. I'm sure I might have, but this is what made it happen. So I want to thank the board, but I want to thank the Board of Commissioners, both current and former. And thank you, Shelley. Thank you all.
All right, let's take a photo up here. In front. You know the routine.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I know. Hey, well, you're on behalf of.
Make it look like I'm speaking, like I'm somebody.
On three, go blue for Steve. 1, 2, 3. Go blue.
Go blue.
Go green.
How you doing?
All right. Okay. Another round of applause for Dr. Taub and his service. Okay. Next up, and related to the work, the gentleman that Dr. Taub that we recognized, I'd like to call on the CEO of Oakland Community Health Network, Dana Lazenby, to be up here to give us an update about the activities that OCHN is undertaking. It continues to provide support for our most vulnerable residents. So Dana, by all means, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners for recognizing Dr. Taub and Mrs. Taub. I had the pleasure and honor of working with them for the last 2 years, and I'll tell you, you learn a lot, and they leave a legacy for this community and this state in terms of advocating for people with mental health, substance use disorder, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and all those things that we serve and all the people we serve in the various ways. So this community would not be what it is without a Dr. Taub and Mrs. Shelley Taub. So again, thank you. And you do learn quite a bit very quickly with working with Dr. Taub and his positive contributions to this community. And as Mrs. Taub noted, many people would not serve individuals coming out of institutions 20, 30 years ago. So we're changing that now. We want to work on prevention. And so the programs that we coordinate with the Board of Commissioners and the county are so critical to that mission and that legacy that the Taubs leave. So I also want to thank, in that same vein, the Board of Commissioners for the support with the Mental Health Navigator, School Navigator program. So in the last few months, I'll tell you, we've done a lot of work in terms of hiring not just two, but I believe we have 4 school mental health navigators and 1 school mental health resource liaison. So their roles are to really actively work in the schools with families and students and advocates as well as administrators to make sure that the community has access to mental health services and also assistance with their co-payments or deductibles when that's a challenge. And to that point, this program in Oxford has also helped pay those co-pays. And with the Navigator program itself, we have been involved with 184 schools. So that's a big deal, and we're really proud of the work that we're doing there. We also have participated in 17 community events. So not just when there's a problem or something, a need identified, we actually go to the schools to get involved to educate the community about how to access those resources and services. And through the payment program, the co-pays and deductibles, we've connected with 27 families, and we've also reimbursed families for their co-pays up to, I believe it's almost $100,000, and with additional payments being made out this month, that will take us to $115,000 where we supported families. So thank you for that. I also want to recognize Commissioner Cavall, Marcia, I always mess up your name. I so apologize for that. And then also Camille Cavall, now I'm getting them off, Spitz, and Marcia Gertison for their commitment and support as we engage and implement a program for co-responders. And as you know, that co-responders program is so critical because we have mental health workers that actually ride along and respond to police interaction with the community when somebody's been identified as needing mental health supports and services. So with their help and support and this board's support, we've been able to expand to having 3 co-responders and also serving the communities of Auburn Hills, Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, Pontiac, Rochester, and Troy. And so our hope is to have enough co-responders for the entire police force in Oakland County. So with their work and their support, we'll be able to do that. But also, January through October of this year, our co-responders that we have, although a small group, we've responded to 654 incidents with police when we were referred to get involved. So what that means is that our co-responders are able to provide referrals, do screening and assessments, and make sure that people are connected to the services they need. Also, I would like to say that with the Board of Commissioners' support, the community is the most impressive when we look at what we've done in Oxford as a community. And so it doesn't take one entity that we work with or that we're contracted with. It really does involve the whole community to get involved and to support those students. We know that the anniversary is coming up, and we're there and present. We want to continue to provide services and supports in that community to make sure that people can heal and continue to heal. So as we look at that anniversary, we want to make sure that we acknowledge that we're not just talking about what we do in the school, we also have created a resource for families who have children that are in crisis. In October, we had a soft opening of our crisis center for youth. Our youth and family crisis care unit will be open hopefully in December. I understand we have our furniture we've been waiting for. So what that would allow us to do, as opposed to students and children and youth going to an emergency department for their crisis services and care, we will be able to screen children right in this area to make sure that they get the mental health services and supports that they need. And what it also allows us to do is to divert children from emergency departments or youth from emergency departments and actually begin to serve them. So we will have 10 beds, and we'll be allowed to support families for up to 72 hours and even beyond if needed. So what that takes families out of the EDs where they're waiting for long periods of time. So we're really proud of that, and having it right here in Oakland County, we're actually one of the first in the state. So I'll say again, without the support of the Board of Commissioners and the Oakland County exec, these things would not be possible. So I want to thank you all, and our team applauds you all, and they're all here, and we're so happy that you acknowledge Dr. Taub and his wife and the services they provided to this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It has been tremendous to watch the partnership with OCHN grow out of a bit of a need of emergency and response to crisis. And I think, all the members of this board, to the staff, to the board of OCHN, looking forward to strengthening that partnership. I think there's no question that we're charting a new path forward for these types of services. And rest assured that we stand ready to continue to partner with you to meet the needs of our community. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we've got a few other communications, so I will call on the clerk to present those communications.
Mr. Chair, 3 more communications to be read in. The first 7D is a memorandum from Oakland County Facilities Management dated November 1st, 2022 to Commissioner William Miller, Chairperson, Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee, from Joseph M. Murphy, Manager, FMNO, the subject being Alternative Energy Supplier Renewable Electric Supply Agreement, Miscellaneous Resolution 22297. As per Miscellaneous Resolution 22297, the final vendor selection and terms of the contract are to be communicated to the Board of Commissioners after the authorization of the 10-year Alternative Energy Supplier Renewable Electric Energy Supply Agreement. The final vendor selected was CMS Energy Resource Management. The pricing we were able to obtain through this 10-year contract was $81.50 per megawatt hour, which is 8.15 cents per kilowatt hour, which was lower than the DTE Rider 17 renewable energy supply option, thus meeting the Board of Commissioners requirement contained in the resolution. The amount is also less than the projected DTE full service rate in 2026 of 8.3 cents per kilowatt hour average price. Item 7E, dated November 7th, 2022. Dear Mr. Woodward, this letter is to request the Oakland County Board of Commissioners confirm my appointment of Aditya Oberoi as Director of Economic Development Corporation of the County of Oakland. The appointment is for 6 years ending November 17th, 2028. I urge the Board's favorable and expeditious approval of this appointment, whose confirmation by the Board of Commissioners is required by Section 4.5 of PA 338 of 1974 and our EDC's Articles of Incorporation. Sincerely, David Coulter, County Executive. And finally, item 7F, dated November 17th. Ladies and gentlemen, please accept this letter as notification of the appointments to the local Township Road Improvement Program Ad Hoc Committee. The members will be Commissioners Karen Joliet, Phil Weipert, Marcia Gershenson, Kristen Nelson, and Yolanda Smith-Charles. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Mr. Chairman, that concludes communications.
Great, thank you very much. Is there a motion to receive and file those communications? Moved by Commissioner McGilvery, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. I think, I mean, let's bring Commissioners' attention to the alternative energy supplier memo. This was part of, I mean, something that not only is going to save us energy costs long term, but actually helps advance us towards achieving some of the climate goals of reducing our carbon emissions faster than we would otherwise. And then congratulations to the committee that will begin their work to develop the plan for how we improve roads, particularly those roads that require an SAD to be built. So, any further discussion on the communications? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving the communication, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications are received unanimously. This will now move us to first public comment. This is the opportunity for members of the public to come and address any items on the agenda, on the consent or regular agenda. If you have comments beyond that or on any other topic, there's a second public comment at the end of the meeting. I think we have one person that signed up, and so I will call on the chair of, that was for the chair of OCHN. Mr. Landsman has already spoken, so I have no one who signed up. If there's anyone who would like to speak during public comment, the first public comment, feel free to just come up to the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. Robert Pulowski. I'm from Southgate, Wayne County, but I'm here to speak on the Oakland County Public Transportation millage that's on the financial report at the end of this packet. Sorry, I just got over here, so it's been a rush. I just want to thank everybody for all their support on the Oakland County Public Transportation millage. I spent 40-plus hours in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties advocating for this, and this is very critical to this region. And the amount of steps that Oakland County has taken to push this initiative to go countywide, you've opened up the doors for two other counties, our sister county, Macomb, and my hometown, Wayne County. Our chairwoman, Alicia Bell, is very open to a countywide transit plan, and with this approval that you're going to be making today on the November 8th results, it will definitely change what we see here in Oakland County. So thank you, Chairman Woodward, for all the work you've done, and all the commissioners that supported this resolution on both sides. I commend you, and I just am appreciative that we're finally pushing to fix what has been needed to be done in this state. Climate change is erupting, and this is the way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak during public comment? The first public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment, and that will bring us to the reports of standing committees. First up is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Is there any discussion for any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the votes? Are they checking? Can you? Are they both walking them out? Okay. All right, close the board.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted. That will move us to the regular agenda. And first I will call on the Chair of Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee, Commissioner William Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got one item on the agenda today is Water Resource Commissioner's resolution to adopt MDOT performance resolution. This was passed unanimously in committee. The only reason it came to the board because the cover sheet was added during committee.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote. Close the board. Oh, Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next up, I will call on Commissioner Markham, the Chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item on the agenda tonight. It is item 14A, 2022 Oakland County Public Transportation Property Tax Levy millage rate based on the November 8th, 2022 election.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner McGilvery. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 15 yeas, 4 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the report of the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much. Next up, I will call on Commissioner Nelson, the Chair of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 4 items under the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. The first item is item A, implementing the Salary Administration 4th quarterly report. And Mr. Chair, I recommend the adoption of the foregoing resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Joliet.
I have a comment.
Okay. Any discussion? Commissioner Joliet.
Hi, I originally voted no for this in committee, and my concern was the resolution asked for $105,000 budget amendment from salaries, and when I had asked the question in committee, is this being measured against anything, I was told that was a question for finance, of which I talked to Kyle Jen, and he showed me the line item that was budgeted for salary modification and changes for 2023, and which is $250,000. So I was grateful that he shared that. So I'm all right with this. I'm concerned because it's actually what we're asking for is 40% of what we had budgeted for in 2023, and we are not even done with the first quarter. So moving forward, I would request that resolutions asking for budget amendments to salaries show the remainder of the balance of what was budgeted for 2023.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item, item B, is appointment Oakland County or Oakland Community Health Network. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following board action. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, having considered the resignation of Dr. Stephen Taub and the vacancy on the Oakland Community Health Network Board on November 1st of 2022, hereby recommends that Dr. Yolanda Giles be appointed to the OCHN as a general public representative to fill the partial 3-year term expiring March 31st of 2024. And Mr. Chair, I move to recommend confirmation of this appointment.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Commissioner Nelson votes yes.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Nelson.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up, item C, appointment of the Oakland County Department of Health and Human Services Agency Board. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, having considered the vacancy on the Oakland County Department of Health and Human Services Agency Board on November 1st of 2022, hereby recommends that Dr. Grenee Dudley be reappointed for a 3-year term beginning November 1st of 2022 to October 31st of 2025. And again, Mr. Chair, I move to recommend confirmation of this appointment.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The appointments are confirmed. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last item, item D, Solid Waste Planning Committee appointments. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, having reviewed applications and conducted interviews, recommends that the following individuals be appointed to the Solid Waste Planning Committee for a 2-year term from 9/29/22 through 9/29/24. Under the solid waste industry, Mr. Mike Sapo, Kevin Kendall, Adam Christensen, and Bernard Gill. Under the general public, Mary Ann Ryan, Claire Galed, and Patrick Kresnick. Under county government, Bob Hoffman. Under township government, Robert De Palma. Under the environmental interest groups, Jean Grimlick and Christopher Bobrick. And Mr. Chair, I move to recommend the confirmation of these appointments.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion on these appointments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote to confirm these appointments.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. These appointments are confirmed. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the reports of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Excellent. Next up, I will call up the Chair of the Public Health and Safety Committee, the Commissioner Penny Lubes. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 items tonight for your consideration. The first is from the 52nd 3rd District Court, which is Rochester Hills, a grant acceptance from the State Court Administrative Office for the fiscal year 2023 Michigan Drug Court Grant Program.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Kokendorfer. Any discussion? Oh, wow, okay. Never mind, Kokendorfer did not second. Commissioner Spiz and then Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to make a request here. Based on the drastic difference in the amount of this grant funding, I would like to ask that we get a 5-year history of the number of participants in all of our drug courts, no matter which courthouse they were in, just so we can see a trend. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Spiz. I think we can work with staff and through the committee chair, ask for that information to be discussed at a future committee meeting. Commissioner Cavell.
Yeah, I voted no on this in committee because I had the same questions as Commissioner Spiz, so I look forward to seeing that. I voted no on this in committee because I had the same questions as Commissioner Spiz, because what's happening is grant request for $90,000 became a grant request for $13,000. So just want to make sure that our drug courts are working as efficient as possible. But after talking to some of the staff at the courts, I'll be voting yes today, but would like to see what Commissioner Spiz is asking for.
All right, thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote. Kokendorfer did.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you. Our next item is from the 52nd First District Court, which is Novi, a resolution appointing Louis Langham as a magistrate of the 52nd First Division District Court.
I support that.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 19 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Lubes.
There's no further business from the Public Health and Safety Committee tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the last item on the regular agenda. That brings us to reports of special committees. There are none. Special order of business, none. Unfinished business, none. New and miscellaneous business. I don't believe there are any resolutions for introduction, is there? Good. I'll move us to announcements. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to advise everybody you should have gotten your email from SIMCOG, the Southeast Michigan Traffic Safety Survey. It closes on the 21st. I ask you to, if you could please fill it out. It's anonymous. Just kind of giving us a read on our traffic safety program we're putting together.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure that staff sends that around again to commissioners to get that feedback. Commissioner Spiz, followed by Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Dana had mentioned, the anniversary of the November 30th shooting is just around the corner, less than 2 weeks away. So I ask for everybody's thoughts and prayers for all the victims of the Oxford incident. I'd also like to advise everybody, if you're interested, that they're doing a luminary event at 7 p.m. on the 30th. So if you are interested in participating, the All for Oxford Resiliency Center has bags with lights in them. Just give them a call or stop by. It's in Oxford. If you're a long way away, I can understand that. But it's just a small bag with a candle inside of it, and to put them outside at 7 p.m. on the 30th. I will be doing 11 of them at my home, but one is sufficient. So I ask you to please participate. And they will also be doing a moment of silence during the day for the same thing. So again, I ask for your thoughts and prayers for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Oakland Together Senior Initiative Senior Center Grant Program opened up on October 31st, and this is an opportunity for all of our senior centers, there's 37 of them across Oakland County, to be able to apply for this grant opportunity. And our next informational meeting, we've had one already on the 11th, or I'm sorry, on the 14th, but we have another grant information meeting that we've been touching base with our community centers and our residents in regards to learning more information about that grant opportunity. And the next one and last one is on November 28th, with a reminder that this grant application also closes on December 9th.
Great. Thank you very much. I would also like to remind all commissioners, the Tri-County Summit is tomorrow all day. So I mean, if you have time in your schedule, even if you can't go for the entire time, we would definitely welcome. This is a rare opportunity where the commission leaderships of Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne all convene. We've got a number of great presenters, particularly on topics that have been very important to this board, namely around water infrastructure and broadband particularly. So I hope to see many of you there tomorrow. Any further announcements? Seeing none, this will move us to the second public comment. So for anyone who's here to address the board, this is the opportunity to address on any topic. We ask that keep comments to 3 minutes. We have a little clock up here to help you keep track of time. Ask you to address comments to me, the the chair. And a reminder that we don't engage in Q&A during this, but certainly welcome all of your feedback and input. So first up, I'm going to call up M. Hatt. You can come to the microphone.
Mary Hatt. I'm glad to be back in Oakland County, and I look at us as being an example to set for the nation. We have some big things to do, not only with the Oxford thing, but with the Northwest Oakland County bus situation, and I hope you'll support them in every way you can. Thank you all for being commissioners. It's not easy to live in that farming community and think that you're going to run to the hospital with a child who has a finger that's bleeding profusely. You don't have time to call anybody. You just have to move it. So it's going to be a challenge to Bob, and we have to support that community too. Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Next up, I got Robert Pulowski again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't get to fully introduce myself in full, but I'm from Robert Pulowski. I'm from Southgate, Wayne County, and I represent the Wayne County Youth Council for District 15 in Wayne County. So I'm up here for that millage, like I mentioned during our first public comment period, but I'm also here on two reasons. One, I wanted to formally introduce myself in front of all commissioners. What we did, mainly the Wayne County Youth Council focuses on all youth within Wayne County, and we focus on resolutions that matter to the community. Now, I am just now joining the council, and one of my objectives is I would like to bring in not just Wayne County government, but other governments to speak at our council. They have not had that experience in the past, and I know that a lot of counties are very open to it. Now, and I think gun violence is one of the biggest issues in our community, especially with Oxford in light of the Oxford shooting. We just sponsored a resolution in light of the Oxford shooting in front of Lansing state senators in Detroit, Oakland County, northern and western states of Michigan, and we got a lot of support from it. Now, we just moved on from that resolution, but I'd like to bring this in front of all commissioners, especially you, Chairman Woodward. We would like to invite any commissioners that are willing to come and speak in front of our council, give them that experience to get involved with other county government, and just get them an opportunity to step foot out of their county. I know this is something way beyond my pay grade, but I really am caring about my council members and my colleagues that I work with, and I think that just getting people more involved with other counties and other state governments, it just grows our council to more big and better things going into the future. So again, I'm happy to answer any questions after this meeting if anyone's interested in stopping by. We have our next meeting December 17th at the Detroit Institute of Arts in Midtown Detroit at 12 p.m. to 3. Public comment is welcome, but I will make sure if anyone's interested in coming, I'll make sure that you have a spot to speak in front of our council. Thank you for the evening.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Matthew McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Matthew McDaniel. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations for Rochester Community Schools. And on behalf of our school district, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for their approval to the amendment of the interlocal agreement between the Sheriff's Office and the City of Rochester Hills. For us, that means one additional school resource officer. We appreciate your continued support of our school district and student safety and safety of our staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Is there anybody else that would like to speak during this public comment portion? Seeing none, I will declare public comment closed. We will stand adjourned until December 8th, 2022, or a call of the chair. Thank you very much, everyone.